Hi, my name is Courtney, and I'm very passionate about helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one that you had envisioned for yourself, but the time is going to pass. What the hell else are you going to do? As I often say, sitting around feeling sorry for yourself is really it's not a viable option. I tried it. It doesn't help. Um, this isn't really what I wanted to talk about tonight, but y'all, this post-COVID crap is just kicking my butt. Um, I actually slept last night. It's the best night of sleep I've had since all this started 3 plus weeks ago. So that was good. I was grateful for that. But I am just so freaking run down, and the fibro is acting up and the Hashimoto's is acting up, and my body is just it's not happy. And I'm swamped at work. I'm not complaining. I like to be busy. I really do. Um, Makes my days go faster. And I mean, I got into a great role today. I just put my head down and just whipped out a bunch of stuff that kind of tedious, but I got it all done, and I was proud of that. So anyway, that was a long way of saying this isn't what I wanted to talk about tonight, but this is always a good topic. It's always, I find this personally very interesting, but of course that's because I deal with chronic illness. By the way, this information is from the mighty.com. It's always odd to me. I shouldn't say odd because that sounds judgmental and I don't mean to be. But obviously, I'm a pretty outspoken advocate for people with chronic illnesses. In fact, I'm known for that at work too. I sit on a bunch of committees, including the healthcare committee, and I'm always, hey, don't forget about your people with severe illnesses and disabilities. Um, just something I'm really passionate about because we need to be heard. But it really surprises me how often I'll deal with somebody either face to face or online for sometimes a couple of years. And then out of nowhere, they'll hit me with, "Yeah, I have health issues too." What? Now I can certainly understand not talking to everybody about it, but it just surprises me because I am such an advocate. But people have to cope how they have to cope. I can't be judgmental on that. I just think it's interesting. But there's a lot of reasons why people don't want to talk about it on social media. So let's get into that. First, y'all need to understand that generally speaking, yeah, I have my days. I'll own that. I have days where you're damn right I am looking for attention and I am being melodramatic. But really overall, we aren't looking for your attention. We just want to fit in. We just want, like everybody else, we just want to fit in. We just want to have our life. We don't want to be melodramatic. We don't want to sound ungrateful. That was one of my favorites. Somebody told me once because even on a really rough day, I'm always okay. I'm okay because I don't want to say I'm bad. I don't want to say things are horrible. I want to be okay. Today is a really challenging day. I have a screaming headache, but you know what? I'm okay. Tomorrow might be better. If not tomorrow, then probably the next day. But somebody told me that I was very ungrateful, and I laughed. Like, I am probably one of the most grateful people you'll ever meet because I seriously came this close to being a bedridden pill popper. I'm very grateful every day that I have the opportunity to start fresh and I choose to exercise. I choose to eat well most days. I choose to drink enough water. I choose to take care of myself. I'm grateful that I'm capable of making those choices. We don't like to post because people think that we're being whiny. And yeah, sometimes I am. You bet your ass sometimes I am. You live with this and let's see how good you do at not being whiny. But I'll tell you, I get very sensitive about it, which is so funny. You're going to put stuff out there on social media. There's always going to be some complete jackass that has to come and ruin your day. They or try to. I generally don't let them, but this is what I'll be real honest. Being called whiny is something I'm super sensitive about. People think we're lacking faith. My gosh, if it wasn't for my faith, I'd be sunk. People think we're weak. Yeah, I may not be the physically strongest person in the room, but I can guarantee you I'm one of the mentally strongest people in just about any given room. And I have no problem making that statement. We don't talk about it because people think we're crazy. I'm really open to a degree. I won't go into specifics very often. I might tell you one symptom that I'm having, but I'm not gonna tell you the whole laundry list because when I talk about it with people, now, of course, online, I don't see their expressions, but when I've talked about it with people face to face, I see their looks change. I see the disbelief and the kind of, "Oh god, here she goes." So I don't talk about it. I'm not crazy. It sounds crazy when you if I sit there and tell you all the crap that I deal with every single day, you'd think I was there's no way anybody could walk around like that. And I've heard that so many times. Oh, that's impossible. No, it's not. I don't have any choice. I have to walk around with all this crap. We don't like to talk about it because there's so much sadness involved. Y'all just don't know. You don't know. Our lives have changed dramatically. Simple activities. Cleaning my damn bathtub. I love to take baths, so my bathtub has to be clean. But quite often, isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that just insane to live like that, where I know if I go clean my bathroom, hey, I might be all right, but it could put me in bed the next day. Imagine having to live like that. Again, what choice do I have? We get to the point where we're utterly exhausted. Y'all, I was exhausted before my second round of COVID. I'm so gosh damn tired. I mean, I'm 3 plus weeks into COVID now. Now I've been negative, but I still have excuse me, I still have a cough. I still have an incredible sinus headache. And I'm so tired I can't even some days I can't function. But here's the thing. When you have a chronic illness, it's really hard to rest because you feel guilty. You sit there and think about all the things that, oh, the wouldas, the shouldas, the couldas. I should be doing this. Oh, if I felt better, I'd be doing that. Well, it doesn't matter because sometimes you just need to let everything go and just rest. Give yourself the grace to rest, but it's hard. I struggle with that's one of my biggest challenges is giving myself permission to just rest. And then we deal with painsomnia. That's a special little slice of heaven. That is when you are so damned exhausted that you can't keep your eyes open, but you can't sleep because your body won't cooperate. Excuse me. In my situation, my body locks up. Well, how on earth can you sleep if you can't relax, right? My body will just get so rigid and it's always and I asked my doctor a few years ago, I'm like, "What the hell is going on that this gets worse at night?" And she said, "That's easy. You don't have the distractions of the day anymore." So your body can be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this hurts and that hurts and not going to cooperate and relax and you really don't aren't going to get any sleep." It's horrible. And I will say, I think one of the most lonely feelings in the world is waking up in the middle of the night in a lot of pain, and there's nothing you can really do about it. I will put on meditation tracks, I'll put on Audible, I'll eventually give up and start scrolling, but I had to tell you, that's to me, that's the most lonely feeling I've ever had, and I experience it really way too damned often, and it's just it sucks. And of course, the lack of sleep just compounds everything. We're sad because we grieve for our former lives. We're often angry and bitter. I get that. I spent a lot of time there, but I realize it's not gonna get me anywhere. It was just a self-fulfilling thing. The more time I spent being angry and bitter and pissed off, guess what? The worse everything got. I can't control a lot, but I try really damn hard to control how I choose to respond to all of this. I don't always succeed. I'll own that. But here's the thing, if you're the one dealing with this, if you're the one that has the pain problem, if you're the one that has the illness, you're entitled to be angry. You're entitled to be bitter. You're entitled to be flat out pissed. Okay, now what? You can't live there. It's just going to make everything worse. And what most healthy people don't understand is how very isolating it is to deal with this stuff. Nobody wants to hang out with you when you don't feel good. Nobody wants to hang out with you when chances are you're gonna cancel plans at the last minute. I get that, I really do. But, we really struggle. I use that word too much. Too bad. We really struggle with the fact that we know we're letting people down. We can't do the things that we used to do. We can't do the things that we want to do. We know this. We don't need you to remind us, okay? Please don't do that. But, as a result of all that, our world shrinks so freaking small. I used to be I'm still outgoing. I used to be really extroverted and I was always around a big group of people, and now I can't do it. I mean, I'll go to a conference if I get the chance because I love those and I like the energy. But generally speaking, I prefer to be around no more than 4 or 5 other people. It's just exhausting otherwise. Actually, I only prefer to be around 1 or 2 at a time, but if I'm really being social, I can expand that a little. But our worlds do shrink. People aren't people aren't very understanding. I was just telling someone the other day, I shoot myself in the foot quite often because I pull myself together. I'm active. I have a job. Do you know how fortunate I am in the chronic illness world to be able to be active and to be able to work full time? But it also comes at a hell of a high cost. I pay for it. We don't like to talk about it because we're worried about judgment. And I know you shouldn't care what other people think, but there's a whole website for people like me. But you don't look sick. And what the hell does that even mean? You don't look sick. Well, why? Because I pull myself together? Would it make people feel better if I were to schlep around here in baggy, old, ragged sweats and a nappy t-shirt and my hair all a mess and no makeup on? Is that going to make people feel better? I'm not doing it. Because how you choose to process what I'm going through, that's your problem. It's not really mine unless you make it mine. We know it's hard for y'all to understand. We know it's hard for y'all to cope. We keep to ourselves because we don't want to burden anybody. We don't, like I said, if I were to tell you everything all my symptoms, if I were to line out how I was feeling right now at this moment, y'all would think I was absolutely insane. You'd probably think I was lying. And you'd definitely think I was crazy. I said that. Anyway, brings me to my next point. We don't like to talk about it because people are really belittling. This is a huge problem. Now, I try really hard to give people the benefit of the doubt. And if I don't know how to take something that somebody says to me, I generally will tell them, I'm not really sure how to take that. So I'm going to choose to take that in a positive way. People, I think, have good intentions and they say things that I assume are trying to build a bridge of understanding and kind of a camaraderie. But when you tell someone who's in chronic pain, well, I hurt too. That's It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Or my favorite, Courtney, for goodness sakes, everybody hurts sometime. Well, no shit. Do you think I don't know that? But there is a very big difference between hurting some of the time and hurting the vast majority. I won't say I hurt all the time, but 23/7, 22/7 on a good day. It's not the same thing. And when you guys say that to us, it doesn't make us feel like you understand us. It makes us feel like, frankly, like you're kind of being a jerk and dismissing what we're going through. Until you have been chasing a diagnosis for years, don't compare your random aches and pains to somebody who has chronic pain. For goodness sakes, do not tell the person in your life dealing with this, well, you just feel better if you fill in the blank, if you lose weight, if you exercise more, if you ate better. Well, guess what? I guarantee you, we've already had these conversations with our medical professionals. We don't need to hear it from you. Now, I'm a little different than most people I've talked to about this. Most people who deal with health issues. They're flat out, "Screw you, I'm not interested. Don't send me articles. Don't try to tell me anything." I tend to be a little more open-minded about it, because I am kind of a Pollyanna, and I do assume that your intentions are good. And honestly, I would rather see the same article 1,000 times than miss something that's really valuable because everybody assumed that I'd seen it. But don't tell. If you have something that you really think is gonna help your loved one, don't tell them, "You need to do this." Say, "Look, you've probably heard of this before, but have you" I ran across this and I thought of you immediately, and it might not help, but I just thought it'd be worth taking a look. That's a very different, much softer, much more appropriate approach than, "You need to." You have no idea what we need. Yes, you're probably right. They probably do need to exercise more, but you know how hard it is to get up and exercise when your entire body hurts and when you're so exhausted that you just wanna pull the covers over your head and cry? I I do it because I am crazy. No, I do it because for me, it gives me a relief, both emotional and to a degree physical relief from what I'm dealing with. It's not that it all goes away, but I can set it in the back of my head. And, even, like, this morning, as much as I did not wanna get up and exercise, I did, and I wasn't very far into it, and I was just I this happens to me almost every morning. I just was overwhelmed with gratitude of how fortunate I am, even being as unhealthy as I am. I hate to own it like that, but it's a fact that I can still choose to exercise. I can still choose to find the beauty in it. I can still choose to be grateful that I have that capability. But you just got to remember at the end of the day, you have no idea. You have no idea what we're dealing with. You can't understand it. The ubiquitous they say that a good day for someone like me is you having the flu body aches all day. Well, how productive were you the last time you had the flu? Probably not very. But what choice do I have? That's my life. I have to make the best of this mess. We don't like to talk about it because it can be really embarrassing. There's no dignity in having health issues. And a lot of what we deal with, it's just not polite conversation. I don't want to talk about a lot of this stuff. We don't talk about it because of a fear of rejection. Chronic illness is so isolating by its very nature, so we don't get out much. This is not a reflection on you. Excuse me. It's very excuse me, it's very difficult to make and keep plans. Yeah, you could call me today and say, "Hey, next weekend we're going to go do this. You want to go?" Oh my gosh, I would love to go. That sounds so fun. And the next weekend comes, the day of comes, and I'm flared up and I don't want to move. So I cancel again, and you get mad. If you have someone in your life who's dealing with this stuff, don't get mad when they cancel plans. For God's sakes, it's not about you. It's not. Personally speaking, if I don't like you, I'm not going to bother making plans with your ass in the first place. So if I'm canceling, I'm already feeling terrible that physically and emotionally, because this stuff just eats at your soul. It truly does. But I also feel guilty because I know I'm letting you down. And I have to tell you, those phone calls are really hard to make. And I went through a long stretch where I just flat refused. No, I'm not making any plans. If you want to call me the day of, you want to call me right before you go out, see if I want to go, great. But no, I'm not making plans in advance. And I did that for years because of how nasty other people would be to me. Oh my God, are you flaking out again? So sorry that my chronic condition is terribly inconvenient for you. Those of us who do post, we just want fellowship and friendship. I have no freaking social life, really. It's getting better. It's getting better. I've got 2 girlfriends here who make sure that I get out once a month. I'm not allowed to cancel on them. If I really don't wanna go anywhere, we'll go to one of them's house and hang out. She lives alone, and she's got a nice she has, like, the most amazing taste. It's very eclectic, but it's really warm, inviting, cozy space, and she loves having company. So, that's our fallback, but I will tell you, I've never done that because I can just about always throw a little bit of face paint on and go sit in a restaurant and let somebody bring me food. I don't have a problem with that at all, but those of us who do post, we just want fellowship and friendship. Sometimes we need a sounding block. Sometimes we just wanna vent. We just need an outlet, and that's for me, that's when I get if I'm posting a lot on my Twitter about, "Oh my gosh, I feel horrible," it's because I am right here with it. I'm so close to just blowing. I have to get that crap off my chest. We just wanna feel normal. We just wanna feel normal sometimes. We wanna we wanna be seen and heard. We don't wanna be forgotten about. Let me tell you something. People forget about you pretty gosh damn fast when you're trapped at home a lot. Anyway, boo-hoo, right? Please know, I'm not telling you all this because I want you to feel sorry for me. In fact, if you know me at all, you know exactly what you can do with your sympathy. I don't need it. Now, there might be people out there who would welcome it. Great, give it to them. I don't want it. I don't need it. But I talk about these things because I want I want to try to get y'all to understand. Now, you can't understand what we're going through, but can you at least have a little empathy? Show a little kindness? You know what? Kindness doesn't cost you a gosh damn thing, so quit being so stingy with it, folks. Be nice to people. Now, for something good, something positive. So I sit on a bunch of committees at work. I'm on the big council for the employees, and I'm on a bunch of their subcommittees. And when I first joined the council, um, I volunteered for a committee that works with our rural staff. And that appealed to me because I know how I know how isolated I feel from the decisions and everything sometimes. And I'm right here. I'm right at the main show, so to speak. Some of these people are hundreds, if not 1,000 miles away. I think our furthest might be 1,000 miles away. Anyway, Alaska's really freaking big. Um, although I'll be honest, I pulled 1,000 out of thin air. So it was a WAG, so don't hold me to that. But I told the other members of the council, I want to be on this committee because I want to be a voice for the voiceless. That's important to me. Well, I was at a healthcare committee meeting yesterday, this week. I think it was yesterday, but it was this week. And I, at our roundtable, I brought up my employer contracted out all the family medical leave because, and I get it, they now have people working in 40 different states, and every state has different family medical leave regs. So, of course, I understand the need to bring in an outside vendor. But I tell you, the outside vendor really sucks. They're horrible. I had a problem reporting my time several weeks ago. I immediately contacted them and asked them what I should do to fix it. They never bothered to get back to me. I went to report my time the other day and discovered to my absolute, I thank goodness I can laugh about it now because I was not laughing when I discovered this a few days ago. I discovered to my horror that the third party vendor closed my family medical leave. And no, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. I have intermittent family medical leave. I get it renewed annually. I don't see myself as disabled, but I'm considered disabled by the government. So I have some significant health issues. I've been dealing with this for a long time, and I was just beside myself that this third party vendor closed my family medical leave. So we get to the round table, and I'm like, I hate to bring this up because I don't want to be self-serving, but I was wondering if y'all had heard anything from other employees if they're having problems with this vendor. And we ended up in a much longer than I intended conversation about. In fact, I think it was longer than all of us intended. Um, And when we got near the end, I was like, "Look, I'm really sorry. I always feel so self-serving when I bring this stuff up." And the guy who chairs the committee said, "Don't, because I remember when you started with the council and you told us that you wanted to be a voice." Wow, why the hell am I getting emotional? That was so weird. That came out of nowhere. Woo! He said, "You wanted to be a voice for the voiceless." He said, "That's exactly what you're doing, so don't stop." And I gotta tell you, that made me feel really good because I do feel very self-serving whenever because it's, "Yeah, hi, it's me again, and this is a problem for people with health issues," but somebody needs to tell him, right? And you know what? I get it. Of course, people aren't gonna really think about the needs of someone like me. Unless you're in my shoes, how the hell are you gonna think about it? You're not. I don't expect you to. But it was really nice to get the positive feedback. Anyway, that's all I have. I hope you'll have a great weekend. If you have any questions, I don't know, my Twitter's locked right now. I guess leave me a message on not on Facebook. I don't Facebook. Leave me a message on YouTube. That's about the only place I guess that you can. I don't even know if my YouTube takes comments. But yeah, if you go over there, go ahead and like my channel too. I really need to look at that. I broadcast these to YouTube, but I've never even gone in and looked at them. So, oops, I should probably do that. I mean, it notifies me. I've had a couple comments here and there, and I get notifications. But yeah, I should probably look at that more often. Anyway, totally rambling. Y'all have a great weekend. I will be back Monday at 5 o'clock Alaska time. Thanks.